Here's what all of their posts looked like yesterday, as you can see, calling her a demon multiple different times, using practically the exact same words.
Is what led to the coordinated attacks where we had Dan Bongino calling for physical violence against Candace Owens, claiming that Candace Owens should be tortured in hell.
I get Israel, I get the Jews, I get it, I understand. You think it's my first rodeo with you dipshits? I know exactly what you're doing.
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Candace Owens is facing serious backlash after releasing a new docuseries that takes a hard look at Erika Kirk. But the reaction around the project has become a story of its own. Reports are now circulating online, claiming that Erika may have supported a network of social media influencers who began posting content attacking Candace and labeling her in extremely harsh terms. And when conversations start escalating to language like that, it often signals that tensions behind the scenes are running high. What has many observers raising their eyebrows is how quickly the response appeared after the docuseries titled Bride of Charlie was announced. Critics of Candace suddenly began pushing the same talking points across multiple platforms, accusing her of bad intentions and trying to paint her in the worst possible light. Naturally, people watching from the outside started asking a simple question. If the claims in the series are completely wrong, why launch such an aggressive campaign before the public even had a chance to watch it? That question keeps popping up again and again, because when someone reacts that strongly before information is even released, it makes audiences wonder what exactly they believe might surface. Is it just frustration with the attention the series is getting, or is there concern that certain details could spark uncomfortable conversations? Those are the questions viewers have been debating nonstop across social media. Things became even more intense when a reportedly leaked internal email connected to Turning Point USA began circulating online. According to the material being shared, staff members were allegedly encouraged to describe Candace in extremely negative terms.
Daughter, my makeup artist, my family members. Lots of voicemail from my producer. They posted photos of my manager's infant
and repeat that message widely across social platforms. The idea, critics claim, was to create a strong narrative about Candace before the series gained traction. Then another moment added fuel to the conversation. Shortly after the email began making rounds online, commentator Dan Bongino discussed the situation publicly and used wording that sounded very similar to what people had seen in the alleged internal message. The phrasing caught attention quickly, because viewers noticed the overlap and began debating whether the messaging had spread beyond private conversations. Supporters of Candace argue this looks like a coordinated attempt to undermine her credibility before audiences can evaluate the series for themselves. Meanwhile, others say the situation simply reflects strong disagreement over how the story is being presented. Either way, the timing has turned the release of the docuseries into a much bigger online storm than anyone expected. And that brings the focus right back to Erika Kirk. Many viewers are now watching closely to see how she responds to the growing attention around the project. Because when a story starts generating this much reaction before the full information is even out, curiosity only grows stronger. The reaction didn't stop there. Commentator Dan Bongino also stepped into the debate, repeating similar language while criticizing Candace and her series. The moment caught attention quickly, especially because Bongino has previously spoken publicly about reviewing materials connected to the secret files and said that, in his view, there was nothing significant revealed there. That history added another layer to the conversation, with viewers now closely examining every statement being made during this growing media clash. For people who have followed Bongino's commentary over the years, the moment didn't feel entirely unexpected. His approach to controversial political discussions has often been direct and forceful, especially when he believes a narrative is being pushed unfairly.
I said, you simply will not be able to deny that when you see the stuff that we have uncovered about her and the missing years, I'll say plural, of Erika's life. Very weird. Where was Erika?
Still, the timing raised eyebrows because his remarks appeared right as the docuseries was gaining traction online. When strong criticism appears at the exact same moment a story begins trending, audiences naturally start wondering whether the reaction is spontaneous or part of a broader effort to shape the conversation. Then another well-known voice joined the debate. Ben Shapiro also began speaking out against Candace and used similar wording during his commentary. He repeatedly described her actions in extremely negative terms, reinforcing the same framing that had already started spreading across social media. Once that happened, many observers began noticing the pattern. The same descriptions were appearing across different platforms, shared by different commentators, all within a very short window of time. At a certain point, people online started asking whether all of this was really just coincidence. Because when identical phrases appear repeatedly across separate outlets, especially right after a major release like the Bride of Charlie docuseries, it becomes difficult for audiences to ignore the overlap. Some viewers believe it simply reflects strong disagreement with Candace's claims. Others think the similarities suggest something more organized behind the scenes. The timeline is what keeps fueling the discussion. First, the docuseries premieres and begins attracting major attention. Then a leaked internal message reportedly connected to Turning Point USA starts circulating online, encouraging staff to push a specific narrative about Candace. Soon after, public commentators begin using very similar language during their own broadcasts. To critics of the situation, the sequence looks less like coincidence and more like a coordinated strategy. But that raises a bigger question. Why now? Candace didn't suddenly begin asking questions about Erika Kirk or the organizations connected to her. She's been raising concerns.
You go yourself, you demonic f***ing scum. This just can't be what this movement is. And if it is, I just don't want any part of it. You motherfucker. You deserve to feel the little licks of the flames of hell on every inch of your body.
And examining the situation for quite some time. From the moment she began questioning the official explanation surrounding the events involving Charlie, she made it clear she believed certain details deserved closer scrutiny. That approach has been part of her commentary from the beginning. So if the questioning itself isn't new, why did the response escalate so dramatically at this exact moment? Why did the criticism suddenly intensify? And why did so many voices appear to adopt the same language almost simultaneously? Those are the questions people across social media are now trying to piece together. This is where the story takes another unexpected turn. According to claims circulating from unnamed sources online, some believe Erika herself may have played a role in encouraging the wave of criticism aimed at Candace. These reports suggest that influencers may have been approached to push a specific narrative online, framing Candace in an extremely negative light. The idea, supporters of this theory argue, was to shift public perception before the docuseries could fully gain momentum. At this stage, those claims remain part of an ongoing online debate, rather than confirmed facts. But the discussion itself has already added another layer of intrigue to an already explosive situation. As the series continues gaining attention and more viewers begin examining the details for themselves, the tension surrounding this story shows no signs of slowing down. As the situation continued to unfold online, the conversation surrounding Candace's docuseries only became more intense. The release of Bride of Charlie did not just trigger debate about the content itself, it sparked a much wider discussion about influence, messaging, and who might be trying to control the narrative. Viewers quickly noticed that the
What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is that?
pushback against Candace seemed unusually organized. The same accusations, the same descriptions, and the same talking points were appearing across multiple social media accounts almost simultaneously. That pattern is what caused many people to slow down and look closer. Normally, when a controversial documentary drops, reactions are scattered, some people defend it, others criticize it, and many simply wait to see more evidence before forming an opinion. But this time, the response seemed unusually synchronized. The language used by certain influencers and commentators looked almost identical, and the timing was extremely tight. Within hours of the series gaining traction, the wave of criticism had already begun spreading across platforms. Online investigators and commentators began reviewing posts and screenshots, trying to determine how the messaging spread so quickly. Some users claimed that several influencers who posted the harshest criticisms had very similar wording in their captions. Others noticed that certain accounts began using the exact same framing, describing Candace in extreme terms and pushing the idea that her project should not be taken seriously. To many observers, it felt less like spontaneous backlash and more like a carefully coordinated narrative campaign. And that brings attention back to Erika Kirk, because as this storm continued to grow, several sources online started suggesting that Erika herself may have played a role in encouraging the response. According to those claims, influencers may have been contacted privately and encouraged to push specific talking points about Candace and the docuseries. Some even suggested that financial incentives might have been involved, although those claims remain part of an ongoing online discussion rather than confirmed information. Still, the idea alone was enough to ignite massive debate. Supporters of Candace argued that the reaction to the docuseries was proving her point. They believe the intensity of the back
8 is where it gets pretty interesting because I was trying to find Erika's very present, and suddenly in 2008, I can't find her, okay? I put this as like Erika's missing school year. Now, and she's going to confirm that after she passes her crown, so in 2007, she's wearing the crown, and then she passes her crown, she is going to confirm that she does indeed go missing after that period. So this would be, of course, in 2008. Take a listen to what Erika says herself.
I prayed for God to just strip my ego from all of that stuff, all of that world, all of the plastic hat crowns. So I locked myself in my room, basically turned into a hermit for about a good 8 months. The only person I would see outside of my family was my pastor's wife.
backlash shows that certain individuals are extremely nervous about what the series might reveal. In their view, if the documentary truly contained nothing significant, there would be no need for such a strong effort to discredit it before audiences even finished watching. On the other side of the debate, critics of Candace strongly reject that interpretation. They argue that the criticism is simply a response to what they believe are unfair claims or misleading narratives within the series. From their perspective, public figures have every right to push back if they feel they are being portrayed inaccurately. To them, the backlash isn't coordination, it is just people expressing strong disagreement. But regardless of which side someone supports, one thing is undeniable. The story has captured enormous attention online. Clips from the docuseries have been spreading rapidly across social media, with viewers dissecting every frame and analyzing every statement. Some are focusing on the timeline of events that Candace highlights in the series. Others are examining the reactions from commentators who quickly spoke out against her. Each new clip and each new post seems to add another layer to the growing controversy. Another reason the discussion continues to grow is the unresolved mystery surrounding Charlie's case. Candace has repeatedly suggested that certain details in the official explanation raise questions.
She runs a few companies like E3 Tech, AZ Tech, and G Tech. And on their websites, they describe projects in border protection, semiconductors, disaster prediction, dual fuel vehicle technology, even NASA Mars experiments. And remember, Raytheon partnered with Israel's Rafael to build the Iron Dome missile defense system. At the very core of that technology are advanced semiconductors, the same kind of tech Lori's companies claim to work with, and they were contracted with them. And I want to be very clear that she does not have any contracts with Rafael, but she has had contracts with Raytheon. And here's where I feel like everything comes full circle, because in 2025, Donald Trump himself pushed for building what he called a gold dome over America, modeled directly after Israel's.
She has argued that there are inconsistencies in the timeline and that some elements deserve closer examination. Those claims form the backbone of her docuseries, and they are exactly what has drawn both attention and criticism. For viewers who are already familiar with the story, the series provided a new collection of interviews, documents, and commentary that Candace believes highlight those unanswered questions. For viewers encountering the situation for the first time, the series opened a door into a complicated narrative filled with conflicting perspectives. And as often happens in cases like this, once the public begins digging into a story, the internet quickly becomes a massive investigation hub. Forums, video reactions, and discussion threads exploded almost immediately after the first episodes appeared. People began comparing statements, analyzing old interviews, and revisiting past media coverage related to the situation. Some users even started creating timelines, mapping out events in order to see whether the sequence of developments matched the official explanations that had been given earlier. The more people analyzed the story, the more questions surfaced. Why did certain reactions appear so quickly after the docuseries launched?
A piece of human debris, Candace Owens has released a trailer for her new series attacking Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. She has been suggesting for a while that TPUSA was complicit, if not in the murder of Charlie Kirk, then in the cover-up of the murder of Charlie Kirk. This is the stuff that Candace Owens has been doing. She is a conspiratorial, evil person, because that's who would do something like this. Because what she is doing is evil, and when you watch her show, she gets paid to do that evil. She is making money off the murder of Charlie Kirk by literally implicating his widow and everyone else at TPUSA in that murder, and then trying to dig up pseudo-dirt on the wife of the person who was murdered. I don't know what to call that other than evil trash. Candace Owens is an evil.
Why did multiple commentators repeat nearly identical language when discussing Candace? And if the internal email that circulated online is authentic, what exactly does that say about how narratives might be shaped behind the scenes? Those questions are now driving a huge amount of engagement across social media. Supporters of Candace say the response proves she struck a nerve. Critics say the controversy is simply the result of a highly polarizing documentary. But whichever interpretation someone believes, the impact is the same. The conversation has grown far beyond the original series. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk remains a central figure in the entire debate. Every new rumor, every new screenshot, and every new reaction seems to bring the spotlight back to her. People want to know whether the claims about influencer messaging have any truth behind them. They want to know whether the pushback against Candace was organized or simply the natural reaction of commentators who disagreed with the series. At the moment, those questions remain unanswered. The situation continues evolving as more viewers watch the episodes and share their own interpretations online. Some believe the docuseries could trigger deeper investigations into the events surrounding Charlie. Others think the controversy will eventually fade once the initial media storm settles down. But one thing is certain. The release of Bride of Charlie has ignited one of the most intense online debates in recent memory. Instead of quietly disappearing into the background,
I love it. Because it would distract me from building what Charlie entrusted to me, raising our babies. Turning point. Being there for the team, being there for what the future holds.
The series has sparked a battle over narrative, credibility, and influence in the digital age. And with new reactions appearing every day, it looks like this story is far from finished. As the debate surrounding Candace's docuseries continued to spread online, the story took another surprising turn that pushed the conversation into an entirely new phase. What started as a disagreement over the claims in the series suddenly became a broader discussion about influence, messaging, and whether attempts were made to shape public opinion before audiences even had the chance to fully watch the project. The turning point came when activity on X began gaining major traction. One user shared a detailed thread claiming that several influencers had been contacted and offered compensation to publicly criticize Candace and repeat harsh characterizations about her online. The post included a list of names and quickly started circulating across multiple platforms. Within hours, thousands of users were debating whether the claims could be accurate or whether the situation was being misunderstood among the people. Mentioned in that growing online discussion was Matt Wallace, a well-known influencer on X with a following that exceeds 2 million users. Wallace surprised many observers when he decided to address the situation directly instead of staying silent. In a post that immediately went viral, he explained that he had received an offer to say negative things about Candace, but declined the proposal. His message spread rapidly because it appeared to confirm that at least one influencer had been approached with such an offer. The moment people began sharing screenshots of his statement, the discussion exploded. Supporters of Candace quickly pointed to the post as evidence that something unusual might be happening behind the scenes.
Established the Everyday Heroes Foundation, which was supposed to help children in need. That was established in Arizona under Erika's mother's name, Lori Faransky. What they decided to do, as charities do, is that they develop certain projects and certain missions. And what spun out from Lori's charity was the Romanian Angels Project. And they got this deal with the military. They worked with the military in Romania to help orphans. Okay. Now, it is a fact that they worked with, at that time, Colonel Otto Buscher. Colonel Otto Buscher was then accused of running a brothel with...
For many viewers, the implications felt significant. If influencers were truly being approached with requests to repeat certain narratives online, that could suggest a coordinated effort to influence how the public perceives the docuseries. And because Wallace has a large and visible platform, his decision to speak openly about the situation immediately drew attention. However, not everyone interpreted the moment the same way. Some commentators urged caution, pointing out that online claims can easily be misunderstood or taken out of context. Without additional confirmation, they argued it would be difficult to determine exactly what occurred behind the scenes or who might have been involved in making such offers. Still, the timing of Wallace's statement made the story even more dramatic. The docuseries Bride of Charlie had only recently premiered, and the controversy around it was already intense. People across social media were watching clips from the series, debating its claims, and discussing the reactions coming from public figures who had strongly criticized Candace's project. The sudden introduction of influencer messaging claims added an entirely new dimension to the conversation. Now the discussion was no longer just about the content of the documentary itself. Instead, attention shifted toward the broader environment surrounding its release. People began asking whether efforts were underway to shape the narrative before the public could form its own conclusions. Supporters of Candace believe this development raises serious questions. From their perspective, if the docuseries truly contained nothing significant, there would be little reason to attempt a widespread campaign to discredit it. They argue that a straightforward response addressing the claims directly would likely be far more effective than encouraging negative commentary across social media. This is where the focus once again returns to Erika Kirk. Critics of Erika now argue that the intensity of the backlash against Candace seems inconsistent with statements Erika has made in the past. At one point, she suggested that responding to conspiracy theories often gives them unnecessary attention, and that she preferred to concentrate on continuing the work and legacy connected to Charlie's mission. Those comments emphasized moving forward, rather than becoming involved in endless public disputes. That approach resonated with many supporters who believed it represented a calm and focused strategy for handling controversy. But now critics say the current situation appears very different. Instead of ignoring the documentary, the response surrounding it has become a full-scale online conflict. Influencers are discussing it, commentators are debating it, and viewers are analyzing every development in real time. Naturally, that contrast has sparked even more questions. If the goal was to avoid amplifying speculation, why has the reaction become so dramatic? Why are commentators and influencers suddenly repeating similar criticisms across multiple platforms at the same time? Some observers believe the explanation is simple. When a documentary challenges public narratives about a sensitive situation, strong reactions are almost inevitable. Public figures often respond forcefully when they believe a project portrays them or their organizations unfairly. In that sense, the backlash may simply reflect a normal response to controversial media coverage. Others see the situation differently. They argue that the sequence of events feels too coordinated to be purely spontaneous. First, the docuseries is released, then an internal message reportedly encouraging negative framing about Candace begins circulating online. Soon after, multiple commentators start using very similar descriptions when criticizing the project. Finally, an influencer publicly reveals that he was offered money to post negative content. When people look at those events together, some believe the pattern is difficult to ignore. To them, it appears as though the narrative surrounding the docuseries may have been shaped intentionally before viewers could judge the series independently. Of course, without clear confirmation, these interpretations remain part of an ongoing online debate. But one thing is undeniable. The controversy surrounding Bride of Charlie has transformed into one of the most widely discussed media stories in recent memory. Clips from the series continue spreading rapidly across social platforms. Viewers are pausing scenes, analyzing statements, and comparing details with past interviews and reports related to the story. Entire discussion threads are dedicated to building timelines of events and identifying possible inconsistencies. In many ways, the internet has turned the situation into a massive collaborative investigation. Thousands of people are contributing their own perspectives, screenshots, and analysis as they try to understand what actually happened behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Erika remains at the center of the conversation, whether she chooses to respond or not. Every new claim, every new post, and every new reaction eventually circles back to her role in the story. People want to know whether the influencer messaging claims have any truth behind them. They want to know whether the backlash against Candace was organized or simply the result of strong disagreement. For now, those questions remain unanswered. What is clear, however, is that the controversy is far from fading away. In fact, the release of the docuseries appears to have opened a new chapter in a debate that many thought had already settled down. And as more viewers continue watching the series and sharing their reactions, the discussion shows no sign of slowing. Every day brings new commentary, new interpretations, and new attempts by online communities to piece together the full picture. In the digital age, stories rarely stay confined to a single documentary or interview. Instead, they evolve as audiences interact with them, debate them, and share their own perspectives across countless platforms. That process is happening right now with this situation. What began as a single docuseries release has grown into a much larger battle over narrative, credibility, and influence in the online world. Whether the controversy ultimately leads to new answers or simply more debate remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the attention surrounding this story is only growing stronger as more people become aware of it. And with so many voices now involved in the discussion, the next development could arrive at any moment. If you've been following this situation, share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the claims being discussed online? And how do you interpret the reactions surrounding the docuseries? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for future updates, and share this discussion with others who want to stay informed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.